Staying on top when the corn pop economy wants to drag you down. Hello everyone, I'm Bobtheorc, and welcome to our show tonight. But first, I want to give a disclaimer. This show is a work of fiction, and is for entertainment purposes only. Any resemblance to real-life real-world people or events is purely coincidental. Also, as a side note, if you happen to be a hot refugee Ukrainian woman, Bubba's got extra room in his bedroom. I see that.
Okay, I can't deny that whatsoever. Although I am picky, so there you go.
All right, I see that look on Maddie's face. Maddie, we would invite them to your bedroom, to your apartment, because you've got some extra room, but you live in Australia. Well, I guess
we're out of lockdown now.
I guess so. I guess you are. Congratulations.
Thanks to the Canadians making everyone look like pussies.
That's right. Well, you know it's bad when even Putin's making fun of Trudeau. Apparently, Putin was making fun of Trudeau. Released a statement, something to the effect of, "At least when I kill people, I let the families keep their money." And because, of course, when Trudeau had the people trampled to death by the horses, he also seized their assets. So
yeah, that's a bit rude, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, we are not barbaric. We don't use horses to kill people anymore. We just poison them. So, yeah,
or use tanks. No,
I think that's the Chinese. Well, I mean, I guess they're using tanks.
Exactly. I'm trying to keep it relevant. Come on.
We're trying to keep the polonium in P.
P is for polonium. It's good enough for me. P is for polonium. It's good enough for me. P is for polonium. It's good enough for me. Polonium is for P. Wow, I almost screwed that one up.
Almost?
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, thanks for showing up tonight.
Yeah, Maddie, we really need your input on stuff.
Yeah, I'd say we've got a real bang-up show lined up, but to be honest, I have no idea whatever the hell we're going to be doing on these things. So, but I guess today we're going to be talking once again about the dark, grim future, where politicians have central control of the economy and screw it up, because that's what they do. But somehow they manage to always get rich in the process. Oh, we got Richard coming.
Richard's back.
Richard's coming back.
Hey, Richard, how you doing, man?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was fine. It wasn't too long. It was just a few minutes.
Nah,
all right.
No worries.
Well, we got started a little bit, and we've already made some bad jokes, and but if you want to give us a better musical intro, you're more than welcome to.
That's very true. If you say yes after you drink your, very high alcoholic content drink there. I had to do the joke. Okay.
What is that? What is that?
Yeah, what is that?
Is that backwards?
Is that like old?
No, it's not
drink?
backwards. I just never seen the word before. That's my issue. I'm from Oklahoma, so I don't understand that word.
Oh, I thought maybe because my camera it looks backwards.
That's like a health food hippie drink or something.
You never heard of that, Chobani?
No.
Maddie, have you heard of this before?
No, whatever it is, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
Well, Chobani actually is a brand of yogurt. Chobani, I believe, is Greek.
Oh boy. I'm going to let Richard and Mark and Bob deal with this because
man, I actually haven't spoken Greek since I was like 5.
Actually, hang on.
Well, maybe 10.
Yeah, you're a little bit light in the mix, but I'm not sure if it's.
Well,
he's gonna rewire it.
All right. Well, so tonight's show, while we're getting Richard all lined up, we had. Bubba, what do you get? Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you just fine. You're just a little light in the mix, but I'm not sure if it's coming clear on Bob's end or not.
Hello.
Yeah, we hear you just fine.
Hello.
You want to just call this one an outtake, and we can always restart the intro and let Richard do it right?
That's like, up to you.
Screw that. It's late. I'm old. I've got my yogurt. You're lucky I showed up tonight.
Don't interrupt a man in his yogurt.
I know, right?
No kidding.
It's
I'll tell
already
you
gone.
what.
It's already gone
tell
off
you.
once.
I tell you what, Richard, just go ahead and go with your inspiration and take it away. Go.
Woohoo!
I think my mix is not the best. I think it's because I was doing a class earlier and I had to make some adjustments. So.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, that's okay. That sounded pretty good. Maddie,
Sounded
meanwhile, is
great.
like, man, I shouldn't have had the 3 whiskeys before I got started tonight.
It sounded better than Biden's State of the Union.
You know what? I didn't actually watch that. I just sort of.
I didn't either.
I watched it with glee.
Are you serious? I just assumed he'd be like, stated tonight, State of the Union, we're gonna do, that thing, do that thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was gold.
Yeah, no, I went to bed early that night. I was like, oh, I'm tired. So I
At
slept
one
in.
stage, I think Nancy Pelosi was drunk. Because, at one stage, she just jumps out of her chair for no reason and then realizes that the camera's on her and she's like,
Okay, number one, you were wrong.
And you made Richard snarf his yogurt.
We did not think Pelosi was drunk. We know Pelosi. There's a huge difference in that. Okay, take it from a drunk. Okay,
I mean, Mike
well, I'm
is
Australian. I'm an expert on drunk.
yeah.
hold my beer.
All right, you two.
What you call beer, we call cordial.
Oh man. All right. So what do we got in store tonight? I think we're going to be talking about how to maintain your finances through the Brandon economy.
Or we could also we could actually call it how to survive this crap.
Yeah, how to survive this crap.
Seriously.
Giant asteroid 2022. So,
Yeah.
That's all we need. Don't even joke about it.
I mean,
Actually, an asteroid would actually help us in the situation. To be honest,
depending on the size.
And where it
size
hit.
queen. Size queen. But
Well-
there's a few basic things that people actually need to understand and realize.
Bubba's gotten really short. Look at that. He's like,
That's because my hydraulic ram and my
did
my
your
chair-
spaceship chair
yeah.
malfunction?
Of course it did. Now Chewy's not here to fix it.
Oh, yeah. That's because
I'm
Chewie's
more
like,
worried about the hydraulic ram situation.
yeah, I don't know if I'd want to. I don't know if I'd want a hydraulic ram that close to my ass.
No.
Okay.
What could go wrong?
We should have called tonight's show "Giving Bubba Shit."
Well, go ahead. Hold my beer. I got this.
All right. Anyway, lay it on us, Bubba. Tell me your
Okay.
thoughts about surviving the corn pop economy.
It basically has to go back to the basics. Okay? There are 4 walls, 4 sides of a foundation, whether it be a house, whether it be financials, whether it be personal life, whether it be career goals that you have to adhere to in order to make sure you survive anything. Okay? Number one, People will argue with me on this all day long, but if you're hungry, you're not going to have any motivation to do anything else whatsoever. Okay? Exactly. I'm not saying go out and buy a freaking 32-ounce ribeye for dinner every night, but I'm saying get food first. Because if you're hungry, it's a primal instinct in our minds to to get food, get sustenance first. Okay, I do believe in a previous podcast that we did, your doctor guest that we had on said 33% of our calories are used by our brains.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, Dr. Maziz, I could call him, but he's probably asleep by now.
Oh, yeah, that's not call a guy. Yeah, but it's actually a very basic truth. You have to eat or you can do anything else in the world. Whether it be work, activities, fun, even sleeping actually takes a little bit of calories. So if you don't get your food, and that's the first wall of the foundation, is getting yourself filled.
Well, and apparently
Again.
food prices are going to be going up quite a bit because...
Don't get ahead of me, Bob.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I see where this is. I see where this is going.
Oh, you have no idea where this is going.
Oh, all right.
Second is transportation. You've got to get back and forth to work. Why?
Because the handouts aren't going to just show up at your doorstep?
Okay. The other why. You have to make money so you can eat.
Unless you're getting the handouts. That's where they're trying to take us to.
Get you down the phone.
I know, some people's kids.
Okay. But yeah, you have to get back and forth to work and make the money so you can eat. Okay. Third wall of the foundation is utilities. You've got to have you have to have electricity. You have to have, gas if you have, a furnace in the winter. You have to have, if you have a gas-powered dryer, you got to dry your clothes. Hello. Okay. I'm kind of leaning towards the creature comes in this particular situation, and I'm getting to the end goal on this. Okay. But you have to have a warm place to go to after you work. You have to have, your basic needs. Electricity to see the lights on, so you can see what you're doing. Warmth. Warmth in the winter, cool in the summer, right? Now you have to have a place to keep this, which comes rent or mortgage, and a place to hold all this. So you have the four basics done at this point, which is you're eating, you can get back and forth to work, you have your basic utilities, and you have the place, a roof over your head to keep the rain out. So there it is. Those are the four basics. Now I'm not talking about, when it comes to, now let's go back to the utilities for a second. Everyone needs a place to wind down. Okay. Right now we're on internet. Every one of us. Richard, Maddie, you, me, everyone's on the internet right now. So yeah, basic internet is needed. And I'm willing to throw a couple of streaming services in there so that way you can actually relax at the end of a workday.
And not all of us can afford a couple of kangaroos slaving away in a giant wheel to provide internet like Maddie can.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, he's got an advantage, so,
Richard
Kangaroo is also delicious, I must add.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, fine. Let's take out kangaroos and put in wombats. Here we go.
And kangaroos are kind of mean, too, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
No, they're very mean.
Everything's mean in Australia.
Of course they are. But, at the same time, you have to have those four basics just to live. I'm looking at Richard right now, leaning back, relaxed. It is very comfortable. I'm not sure.
And hydraulically functioning chair.
I'm going to quickly grab a bottle of water.
All right.
Shut up.
So Bubba, what...
Yeah.
Oops, I think I need to... There we go. So Bubba, what do you do when the food prices are going up? The cost of my bacon's doubled, the cost of my steak is doubled.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything's going up. And then regarding your transportation, you know, fuel's doubled.
Yep.
Then what else? Your utility bills are going up. I haven't seen the utility bills hit yet because, you know, we're Oklahoma and our energy's powered by natural gas, which is produced here in Oklahoma. So that hasn't gone up quite so much yet.
Some of it. Now
Some of it, yeah, it's not you know it hasn't hit too hard yet, but I know in other places it's getting bad. And then I know people who are renting are going up. Now, if you're mortgaging, you're pretty safe because you're in a fixed contract on your home, hopefully. Unless you have one of those 2008 mortgages with the balloon payment at the end.
Yeah. But there's a couple of things when it comes to the mortgages is, your mortgage principal and your mortgage interest is fixed, but your escrows, which is homeowners insurance,
your taxes and all that,
and your taxes, always fluctuate. But that's kind of back up a little bit. And you were talking earlier, just a second ago, about utilities. The biggest indicator to see what your utility's about to do is just watch the gas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's all related.
Is exactly because two things: gas and coal are the biggest provider for electrical utilities in the country. Okay. You see, gas prices goes up, you can guarantee coal's going to go up.
Well, because a lot of the price of coal is the transport cost, isn't it?
Exactly. Don't get me started on that one because I've got 5 freaking tabs up right now talking about the transportation industry in this country. Okay. Plus, I was in it for 22 years.
Yeah.
So, to give you an idea of how bad things have gotten in the transportation industry, when I hired back at the last company I worked at, okay, I hired back on at 40 cents a mile. Okay. I'm going to...
well, I know the gas has gotten so expensive that the truckers can't even afford to protest anymore.
The owner-operators can afford to. Company drivers can do what they want, and here's why. Okay, I'm going to share a screen here.
All right.
Okay. When I hired on at this company back in 2019, December 2019, I hired on at 40 cents a mile.
65 cents a mile. Holy crap.
Just to hire on.
For the first year, yeah, wow.
Yeah. Okay. That doesn't include bonuses. Performance bonuses. You get over 10,000 miles a month, there's an additional 3 cents a mile bonus every quarter for the first year. After that, it's 4 cents a mile for like the next 2 years.
Yeah.
After that, it's 3 cents a mile until you terminate your employment there. Okay, so you're talking about a 25-cent raise in the past
a couple years.
Couple of years.
Yeah, that's almost a 50% increase. Actually, it is a 50%.
If you think about
increase,
that, on a 65 cent a mile, okay, the average driver drives 10,000 miles a month. That's $6,500 gross per month. Don't tell me you can't live on that. Okay. When the national household income, whether it's single or a couple, is at $56,000. Okay. So there is truth a little bit to the driver shortage that's here in America, but that's been going on for the past 25 years because I got out of it in 2020. But there's a panic going on. We've got 3 different panics going on right now? The pandemic, the Ukraine-Russia conflict.
Well, Dad's often talked about how a lot of economics is psychological anyway.
Exactly. That's exactly what's going on. I would love to have him here right now because I would love to have this discussion with him. Just based on what I know here. What's
your survival? And And whenever Richard gets done futzing with whatever he's futzing with, I was going to ask him a question. Oh, there you are. I thought the yogurt put you to sleep. Not yet.
I'm staying out of that one.
So what's food prices done in New York? What's going on there? Because I know you don't, because you don't drive. You take the subway, so you're not affected as much by the gas prices. But everything has to get driven into the city. So what's food doing in New York? How expensive has that gotten?
I don't pay attention to it. I really don't.
Okay.
Always
Right.
always
Okay. Here's something I would like for you to consider, Richard. I'm about to share my screen again.
Okay.
Okay. These are the average fuel prices for New York for trucks. Okay. If you understand the average nowadays, if you have a truck that is 5 years or less in age, it's getting about 7.2 mile per gallon. Okay.
All right.
And here are the fuel prices. Trucks. For the
So let's see here.
5.59 a gallon.
That's
That's
not as
in New York.
That's not as bad as I thought it would be, because it's like $7 in California, isn't it? $6.
Well, you know what? Let's find out. I'll pull that up right now. This is from the Flying J pilot.
Flying J's a good. They're a good truck stop. Not that we're sponsored by them or anything, but I always like stopping off at a
No.
Flying J.
Yeah, we'll fix that. So there you go. Let's find out. I'm pulling it up live right now.
All right. Getting close to $7.
There it is.
Six and a half. Yeah.
Now, here's something else you guys haven't figured out as well, is there's also considered a fuel surcharge. Okay, because companies said, you know what? With these fluctuation prices, this happened back in 2008, okay? They add an additional, this is, if you look right here, it says 5.051 to 5.110 per gallon.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get an additional 35.5% on fuel prices. Okay.
And is that just taxes or?
No, that's actually called a fuel surcharge. It's not taxable, but it's what brokers are required to pay when it comes to moving goods across the country. So let's do a little bit of math here. Okay. Some very basic math. Why is my calculator not showing up? Do you see my calculator on the screen?
No, because you're just sharing the individual screen. You're not sharing the You're not sharing the calculator.
Well, I'll fix that crap. There it is.
No, still not showing up. Oh, there now it is.
There
Okay.
it is.
There we
Okay.
go.
Let's just use the 35.5. We're way above that based on California and New York prices. Okay. Let's say the average cost of a load, and I'm being generous here, is 1.89 cents per mile. Okay.
Okay.
Now, this is not from New York. This is from Columbus, Nebraska to Long Beach, California, which is a 1,500-mile trip. Okay? That's how much the company is paying for one load going out to California. Now, anyone who knows any basic math knows that you multiply it by 1 point whatever the fuel surcharge is. Right?
In
So
this case,
we're going to do
1.35.
exactly. Are you? That's 9.5. I'm not going to do that to you guys. Okay, so we already had the 28.25 sitting up there in the corner, right?
Yeah.
Adding another 35% brings the load from 28.35 cost to
Almost 4,000.
38.27.
Yeah, almost 4,000.
Exactly.
Bucks.
Now, take a guess. Who is the end payer of that surcharge?
Well, it's going to be the consumers, of course, because they're going to pass it
Exactly.
on. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's part of the inflation issue here in America. And that's just from a transportation sample.
Well, there's a bunch of other factors. So what are you going to do about it? What's your plan?
My basic plan, get rid of that, bring up Discord again. There we go. Like to this. Okay, you're not helping at all. My basic plan. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen for a second because I feel like talking. Is the average household usage of income, okay, should be about 50% of your take-home income per month. Let's say you make $4,000, just using round numbers here, okay? Your total bills, including groceries, for necessities, and I'm throwing streaming services in there, utilities, rent or mortgage, basic stuff, including internet, and I'll include that because it's important in this day and age, should be half of your total take-home income. Now, that'd be $2,000 based on the $4,000 model I just provided. So that should leave an additional $2,000 to do whatever you need to do with, whether it be investing, whether it be bracing for a bad economy, which absolutely no one did back in the 70s. Hello, Jimmy Carter. Okay. So if you're set up on that basic platform, you can weather this out. And the biggest thing to realize is no high economy or low economy will last long term.
Well, unless
the only time...
Unless there's like a revolution, the whole nation falls apart, giant meteor, zombie apocalypse. But yeah, no, most of these things happen in a cycle.
Exactly. And if you think about it, the last bad cycle was in 2008. We are a bit overdue because cycles on the average last about 7 years.
Well, and I think there's a number of things I think there's a number of things that can affect it. But
yeah,
I have two concerns.
Mm-hmm.
The first concern is, most of the people I know don't make $4,000 a month. I know a lot of people are stuck working some crappy retail job, or because $4,000 a month in Oklahoma is a lot of money. Now in New York, $4,000 a month is chump change.
Right, Richard.
Yeah.
You can talk now. It's okay. I'm not trying to hog the conversation. Please, everyone, jump in here.
I think, because I know some people who brag about I'm only paying $2,000 a month in rent, and they're thrilled to only be paying $2,000 a month in rent.
Right.
And I think if it weren't for rent control, I think the rent in my dad's apartment would have been probably like $6,000 a month, if he weren't in rent control. And Richard, you had to move out to the boonies, didn't you, to get decent rent? Were you? Because you're out in
Long Island is not the boonies. Don't start with me.
Well, I'm not in Long Island.
Yeah.
I'm not in New Jersey either. I'm in Queens now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
But Manhattan rent is through the roof.
Well, Manhattan, is a little cheaper. It depends on where you go. Too.
Yeah.
It's through the roof, but that's the publicity.
Okay.
I read the articles too. I said, I don't know any friends of mine who are paying $6,000 to $7,000 a month in rent.
No.
That's I don't know where they're getting that from. Honestly, they say the average price of a rent is $3,000 a month or something. I said, really?
Well, I think it's because you have some really, really expensive apartments that are so overpriced that it throws the average off. Because it comes down to whether you're looking at the mean average or the median average.
Yeah, I was going to say because you will have some of these rich apartments. I mean, these luxury condominiums that may go that high, but if you take Joe Blow or whatever, I mean, I'm paying $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
That's still double my mortgage after taxes and escrow and everything.
Right. If you don't mind me asking, Richard.
Except I'm not. That's including utilities.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. If you don't mind me asking, Richard, what's the square footage of your place that you're at?
I don't know. It's a small 2-bedroom. That's
well,
all I can do.
1,500 after utilities is not bad, actually.
No, it's not.
It's.
I don't think my house was that way, and I had a 600 square foot house.
It is less than 1,000. I would say it's probably less than 1,000 square feet. Yeah, it's less.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be 850 square feet. Could be that. Maybe 750 even. it's a small 2-bedroom, but for me, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as the other is concerned, I hardly even take the subway because I live just down the street from the school where I work at.
Well,
And if you know anything about Manhattan or Queens, shopping is everywhere.
yeah. You just walk. Yeah.
I walk. I literally have 4 grocery stores within 3 blocks of where I live.
No.
The dentist, the delis, the doctors.
Everything you need, basically.
So this raises an interesting point.
Yeah.
Starbucks, Dwayne Reed, Rite Aid, they're all right near me.
Most of the people who vote for higher gas prices live in a city where they're walking everywhere, where they don't have to pay the higher gas prices. They don't notice the difference, and they probably don't see the correlation between the higher gas prices and the higher food costs.
Right.
Whereas
that's the biggest thing.
Out in rural America, where you've got to drive, I had to, my job site today, I had to drive probably 80 miles
35 miles.
Was it 35 miles?
35 mile one way. Yep.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was going to say it was about 80 miles round trip, but yeah, I guess because I didn't go to Newcastle. I went past Newcastle.
Okay. Yeah, then you're
so,
probably talking about, yeah.
Yeah, it was about 40. It was about 40 miles each way. To get to my job site, and I'll have to do the drive again tomorrow as well, and then once again the following week. So when it's all said and done, by the time I finish this project, I'll have driven almost 250 miles, so that's a tank of gas right there, and that'll be 40, 50 bucks just for just to do this one job. And I factored that in. I raised the prices and cover the to cover the travel. Which then means that the guy's paying more and whatnot. So I think this is why people in rural America are much more concerned about the fuel prices than Richard, where food's already so expensive anyway. So he doesn't notice the increase in food. Whereas when we get when our food costs an extra $1 or $2, that's doubling the price because the food's produced here. And
I'm sorry.
Really
my cat is protesting because his cat food went up $1 a bag.
Well, I think it's probably more your protest. Your cat protests anyway.
Well, he's a cat. He does that.
I haven't even had a car in 20 years.
Yeah.
I haven't.
See, and
I've got enough cars to cover you. Don't worry about it.
And people like me and Bob, can't even fathom that because. Well,
when I go to New York, not that I've been to New York in a couple of years, but when I go to New York, I park the car and I leave it for. I got to go do the alternate side parking. But other than doing the street sweeper dance, I basically don't touch my car for a week, or I'll go park it up at a friend's house up in Connecticut, take the train in, and just not care about the car.
Well, and that is, I did have a car when I first moved to New York, but when I saw all that craziness. Alternate side parking, the extra insurance, the repairs.
Oh, it's nuts.
I went practically bankrupt with all the damage to my car and those extra expenses. So I said, this is crazy. I'm in Manhattan, one of the most extensive mass transportation cities in the world. I can literally get everywhere by either walking or a very direct subway. And actually, there's the stuff. That's the other thing. I'm 3 blocks subway. So if I do have to take the subway, it's only a few blocks from where I live anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you're paying for convenience by living in New York to begin with. I mean, because based on what I've heard, I've only been there one time, and it was stupid because I was in South Brooklyn at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still alive. Here I am, but everything is right there. I mean, all you got, you're gonna trip over a restaurant or a grocery store within half a block of where you're at. Now, I would like to include Maddie on this a little bit. What's it like where you're at?
Public transport wise, or food and
both?
Petrol?
Yeah, and how
all three.
Our petrol's gone up about 70% in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we did the math on this earlier, And to equate what's going on in Australia, you saw the prices earlier that I showed for Pilot Flying J at $5.50 and in California $7 a gallon. The average in Australia, based on conversion to gallons of liters, is like what do we find 8.25 per gallon?
Quarter a gallon.
Yeah. And let's face it, Australia's not that big of a country.
No,
Not trying to begrudge you.
Well, it's size-wise, it's pretty big. There's just not a lot of people who can survive there.
a lot of our higher
it's full of
petrol prices
Australians.
is because we don't produce any fuel ourselves.
That you're talking about
And-
inbound shipping costs on top of that. I haven't even
Wait,
looked
does
at the
Australia
shipping
not have
costs
any
of the
oil?
thing.
Yeah, we do, but we don't have any refineries.
Well, that seems dumb.
I know. We used to have a refinery somewhere near Sydney. I can't remember, Castlemaine or something.
What
somewhere
happened?
like
Yeah,
that.
Did
you were
your
talking about that during
environmentalists
the
kill it or
pre-show.
something?
I don't know why they shut it down. But I
Well-
assume it's got to do with the Greens, because everything stupid like that comes from the Green Party. So, because we don't produce any fuel, it's really expensive, and we don't have the strong currency that America has, or buying in bulk like you used to.
Well, I don't know if we're going to have the strong currency forever, but one of the things that concerns me is with the sanctions that we're putting on Russia. Russia's going to bounce from the SWIFT system, and if Russia, China, India, a bunch of these Asian countries all team up and form their own parallel system, we could lose the U.S. dollar's status as the world's reserve currency.
That's
You
why
know-
I thought kicking him off the SWIFT was a bad idea.
Yeah,
You
well,
might force them to do something like that.
well, and if we lose the petrodollar status, then we could have the value of the dollar tank, and then we're going to be screwed. And from Russia's standpoint, there's no point in being tied to it. Their currency has already lost about half its value in the last couple of weeks. My Russian friends were talking about how some of their favorite food items now cost triple what they used to cost just a month ago. And it's interesting that these sanctions seem to be, beating the hell out of the Russian people, but I don't think it's hurting, Putin or his oligarch buddies that much, because they moved their assets a long time ago. I guess a couple of them were dumb enough to not move their yachts, but and I think this is going to blow back on us. Now, where I'm concerned with, I think that people who are like poor wage slaves, they're going to get screwed no matter what, because they always get screwed in any economy, and you've got to diversify your income streams. And I think the
Yes.
wealthy, what a lot of wealthy people are doing is they're hedging their bets. They're shorting the dollar by borrowing a lot of money, buying investment tangibles, as Dad would call it in his inflation book. I'll have a link down in the description for people who are interested. But the rich people are borrowing lots of money, using it to buy investment tangibles, hard assets, and then when the dollar tanks, they'll pay back these low interest rate loans with cheaper money, and so they actually earn a profit just on the interest rates. Because if you're rich and you can borrow money at 2%, 1.5%, but inflation is reportedly at 7 or 8%, and the real rate of inflation is closer to 20%. Then you're making 15% profit, 18% profit just on borrowing cheap money that's undervalued. So that's kind of why I think this modern monetary theory has people printing so much money, because they're printing a lot of money to devaluate the dollar, because that's the plan. Their buddies are borrowing the money and paying it back with cheap dollars.
If I could go back to history for a minute, didn't Germany do this after World War One?
Yeah, during the Weimar Republic. Now
Yes.
Now they were in a different situation, because Germany was never the world's reserve currency.
Well, this is true, but still.
What happened with them was
the
they
model
had.
does fit.
Well, so what happened with Germany was they had to pay back a lot of restitution towards the rest of Europe, and so they inflated their currency. They devalued their currency to pay it back. Now, in their
It's either
case,
that, or they just fired up the printing presses and said, "I'll print all the dollars you want." Here we
Right,
go.
right. Now
Which did devalue. The
right now,
currency that was printing.
now in their case, their inflation wasn't 10 to 20%. Their inflation rate was like 1,000%, 10,000%. So that was a little bit
exactly.
that was a little bit different. My concern is I think that I see two strategies for people. I'm not going to get into specifics because I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial coach. That's y'all's problem. But I see two strategies. First off, if you're poor, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, then you need to start generating side income. You need to diversify your income streams. Start up a side project, have multiple streams of income, so that when things go bad, when you get laid off,
you have something to fall back on.
Yeah, well, it's like last month when we had our office flood, that cost me $25,000, and we'd be completely screwed if it weren't for the fact that I've got investment income and other consulting income to go support the business. Most people don't have that, but if you do have multiple streams of income, then you can weather a big blow, and you need to develop your credit lines so that you have a shock absorber to deal with the emergencies. And then if you
that's where I'll disagree with you a little bit. You know me, I am anti-credit.
I know, and that's okay.
Okay.
I love you anyway.
I have a big emergency.
Yeah, you keep a cash emergency fund, and a lot of people should do that too. But you can. My theory's always been that you can use if you have a $10,000 credit card that you just leave empty all the time. You'll have to occasionally make a purchase, otherwise they'll degrade your
discontinue the credit.
Yeah, they'll discontinue the credit. They'll lower the credit. And so, every now and then I'll use my credit card to go buy an investment asset or a firearm or ammo or an invest. But I repeat myself because those are basically investment assets at this point. No, so you can use the credit as a big shock absorber. And this is more important if you're in business than anything else. Because we're like the computer store costs us about $10,000 a month to run, and then I've got enough credit that if we have a bad month, we can kind of absorb it. But if you're wealthy, if you've got extra money coming in, you've got to leaving your money in the dollar. It's just going to devalue, and so you've got to find hard assets to invest in. And, you can do the gold and silver thing. For some reason, gold's underperforming, and I'm not sure why. I think there's some sort of artificial force keeping gold down.
There has to be. I mean, I've watched that myself because.
Yeah,
exactly.
silver got pumped. I mean, you had a big pump and dump scheme going a while back, I think, with silver, and so I think silver got inflated artificially high, and now it's starting to resolve itself. And
no, because it's got to do with gold and silver certificates.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't deal with certificates.
When I worked in the mines, I did the tonnages and all that. So like how much copper, how much gold, how much certain things we're supposed to be getting.
Right.
And certificates are sold to 3 times the amount we were actually getting.
Oh wow.
Gold.
Okay. Yeah, I don't do the certificates.
If you want to buy gold and have it in your hand, you've got to pay 50% over what's it called?
Over actual value?
Yeah, over actual value. To actually have it in your hands.
Or rob a drug dealer and steal their chain.
And the biggest gold dealer in Sydney he can't even get it.
I'll say the thing is,
he'll sell certificates, but he won't give you. I say 50% above spot price is what they say.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can't buy it.
If I can't hold gold in my hand, what's the point?
Yeah.
Exactly. The thing is, that's what I was about to say is don't do the gold or the silver. Get the copper. Here's why. The housing industry is always building houses, right? What is the one thing that's using all electrical
Well, you need a lot of copper,
conduit?
but what's copper right now? It used to be $5 a pound. What's
It's about that now,
Is it? Okay.
if not more. I can find out.
Yeah, let's see what
Okay.
copper's at. And crypto seems to be artificially down right now. I heard that the World Economic Forum's trying to do their funny business, and they're trying to convince governments to make any decentralized crypto that can't be controlled illegal, and I think that's artificially driving down price.
I think that's a combo of, China banning crypto and India banning crypto, plus everyone's got no money, so they're selling their crypto.
That could be too. But on the other hand, I think because Russia's using crypto to bypass the sanctions, which I think is going to cause it to go back up, and because Putin recently made Bitcoin legal in Russia, and so all the Russians I know are starting to use, because most of the Russians I know work for Western companies, so they all got themselves Bitcoin wallets. They could start getting paid again.
Mm-hmm. I just showed a screen out what the current price is for copper.
Yeah, let me go pull that. Let me pull that up. What is it?
4.62 per pound.
Yeah, see, copper.
20.
Yeah, that's not really appreciated. And copper, it's hard to. I mean, maybe you could do like a copper certificate, but the problem is if you want to park large sums of money, you're not going to be able to park $100,000 in copper because that'd be, that take up your whole living room. And I mean, how are you going to watch the TV if you've got 20,000 pounds of copper in the living room?
Put it in a storage unit.
Yeah, that's right. You'll just have a nice copper shade.
Well, the other thing is that I think it's kind of hard to sell copper.
No, not with the housing industry because believe it or not, there's still houses being built here, and every single house needs electrical conduits, and every single conduit has copper in it. So
yeah, well, I mean, as a commodity, sure, but if you've got to go sell some copper to go pay the rent, you can't just take it down to a, we buy and sell copper store.
Actually, you can.
You can?
Yep.
Yes.
No kidding. I
Yes.
guess that's what the crackheads do.
Yeah, crackheads are always stealing copper. They take it to the salvage yard.
The salvage yard's supposed to, at the salvage yard. I remember we had some leftover copper wiring and other stuff from a big project. We were doing this casino job a while back, and we had a bunch of extra cable, and so we took it down there, and they wouldn't buy it from us because we couldn't show that we were licensed electricians. So they, I guess there's some regulation where they're supposed to. Where you're supposed
it's fraud. They're trying to avoid buying something that may have been stolen.
Right. But then again, the guy in front of me looked like a crackhead, and he sold a bunch of stuff and walked off with cash. So maybe you just have to know somebody.
It's real simple. In that situation, what you do is you just find an electrical company and say, "Come here. Okay, here's what happened."
That's what we ended up doing. I just ended up giving.
There you go.
Yeah, I just gave it to an electrician friend, and
you gave it, silly. You should have sold it to him.
Well, it was only like $50 a copper. It wasn't that big of a deal. Not even that.
Oh, that's your loss.
Well,
sorry. Are you in business or not? Hello.
So anyway, no, I think that because what you're seeing a lot of rich people borrowing money, buying property, really just buying a lot of property right now because there's only so much space on the planet. They're not going to make more.
Yeah, and if you actually think about it, when you look at the economic situation, we're going back to the time of kings and lords, where money wasn't as much of a big a deal as how much land you own. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. The corner of Cemetery Road and 72nd Street, south of Noble.
Yeah, I know where that's at.
I lived like a half mile from that corner. But back then, when I was young, I could hop the fence. My aunt owned the pasture right next to the house. I'd go swim in the pond. I would, pee in the pond. I would, go play with the bulls. I'd run across that pasture all the way to my grandmother's house, things like that. Now there's more freaking houses there than are on the block that me and you are on right now, Mark.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so, like you said, land is a very limited commodity here on the planet. So I think that's kind of what we're trying to transition back to. That may be a good idea in the long run.
Well,
Just
I
wait
mean,
till
I
just wait
know that
till
I have a sense of security because I own my property. I mean, I wish I owned more, but it's
yeah.
hard to buy. I don't want to buy a bunch of property that's scattered around. I'd rather just, buy the adjacent houses and expand what I've
Consolidate
got.
it.
Yeah, consolidate
No.
it. I kind of almost, at one point I was looking at buying a square mile out in the middle of nowhere, and I kind of wish I had done that. Although,
Well,
we'll see.
anything within 30 miles of where we're at right now, it's going to cost you more. Unless you're in it for the really long.
Yeah. Hey,
I'm
Richard,
talking
welcome
about
back.
30 to 50 years. Hey, Richard.
Well, hey, yeah, sorry. This has been like 3 or 4 times. It's kind of an important phone
No.
call. The phone
Don't apologize. I mean, you've got a business to run.
Well, this is
but
a casual hangout show. What do you got for us?
It's 12:30 in the morning. That's what I have.
Oh, well, we need to wrap it. Yeah, we've been going for an hour already.
You're welcome.
And I do have classes tomorrow. My students, we have a big competition on Sunday.
Oh,
So
really?
one of the reasons I was so tired today is because it's the whole week. They've been preparing for auditions for this competition for Sunday.
All right.
I had to do a video with one of them, and then I also had to send out recordings, which is fun. It's been a diversification day. So many different things today.
Yeah.
Anyway, good discussion there, and I'm sure we'll solve the next world problems after this. So.
Well, do you want to wrap us up with some music, and we'll call it a night?
I'm not sure my let's make it easy. Make it easy on yourself. Just a second, I wasn't quite prepared there. Sorry. My mixer has not been good all day. I have to fix this.
Yeah, I know, right?
Testing 1, 2. Boy. It's pressing red. Hold it.
It's one of the problems of having live music is sometimes live music decides to come get you.
Like I say, I was recording with different levels. I had a class with a different level. And I just got on here so fast, I didn't have a time to make my adjustments. Oh, well. Is this any better?
It sounds good.
Lonely days, whispers of a gentle breeze, with memories of a long lost love. And in those quiet nights, those empty and lonely nights, without a hand that I'd long to hold, I see the soft sandy beaches, but love never reaches out to me. I look out at the ocean, but no warmth or devotion do I see. I just see lonely days passing into empty nights, never knowing what will be in store for me for tomorrow. Maybe in time there'll be another true love for me. But now it seems like eternity in lonely days. never reaches out to me. When I look out at the ocean, no warmth or devotion do I see. I just see lonely days passing into empty nights, never knowing what will be in store for me for tomorrow. Maybe in time there'll be another true love for me. But now it seems like eternity in lonely days. Maybe in time there'll be another true love for me. But now it seems like eternity in lonely days. Lonely days. Lonely days. Lonely days. Lonely days.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Richard.
Another original.
Yeah, I know. I remember you playing that in the living room one day, I think.
You remember? You remember that one?
I'm pretty. Yeah. Because you started up as like, I've heard this before. Yeah, it was back when Mom was still alive, and
Yeah.
I really.
Well, when your mom, of course, as you know, your mom and I met on that
on that cruise ship. Yeah.
The World Cruise, and so I was on that cruise for 3.5 months. Now your mom was only there for maybe a week or so. I forget how long they're gone.
I think it was a couple weeks.
Yeah, maybe it was 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's like 2 or 3
So
weeks.
they were only on there for 2 or 3 weeks because that was the contracts that most performers had, most groups had. But I was contracted for 3.5 months because we played the music for the passengers. We weren't a show; we were actually a dance band.
Right.
So for that reason, we were there constantly. So I met a lot of celebrities, and but most of their contracts were maybe like 10 days, or in your mom's case, like 2 or 3 weeks. So, but what I was trying to get at, since your mom was on there for several weeks, she got to hear me do a lot of my songs. "Look of a Woman" was one that you probably remember.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And this other one that I just played, and it gave me a chance to do my originals pretty much every night because this was dance music.
Yeah.
And so since a lot of the music I wrote was kind of in that, I did a lot of Latin. "Look of a Woman." This one is kind of a bossa nova style, and these are easy songs to dance to, and that's probably.
Yeah, I think "Lonely Days" is my favorite of all the ones that you've written.
And it's really interesting because not many people know about, except your immediate family and a few other friends of mine, because I haven't really advertised that one as much yet. I played that one along with "Look of a Woman" pretty much every night because the type of passengers we had were mostly the older folks.
Yeah.
Who knew the Latin songs and things like this. We did not play that much rock at all. I mean, there was another band in one of the other rooms. They had the Filipino rock band that for the young people, that's where they went. But our average age in our group was probably at least 75.
Yeah.
So they liked that old stuff, and they liked the Latins, and they liked the bossa novas, the rumbas, the tangos, the waltzes, and things like this. So that's what we did. So. But, what's interesting when I I was visiting my friends in Russia a few months ago before the war started, and and I always bring, whenever I travel to overseas, to Russia, to Greece, to Ukraine, to wherever, my friends will always ask me to bring gifts from America, and so I was like, well, what do you want me to bring? And so this one girl that I knew, she asked me to bring a bossa nova LP record. Because somehow she had, I guess her dad or somebody had given her an LP record player. So she had this LP record player, but she didn't have any LP records.
and so she was a big Latin music lover, but they don't have that in Russia. So she's like, yeah, can you bring some bossa nova? I was like, yeah. So I went down to the record store. We got this record store here run by some yeah, I'm not even sure what the word is. Not hippies, but anyway, he's a nice guy. Anyway, so you know, you can actually buy LP records still. I didn't realize that. So, you know, it'd be really cool to do sometimes. We should do like a Richard Jam mix of like your originals and your inspirational stuff.
Actually, I got a challenge for him.
Uh-oh.
Me?
Yes.
What?
Progressive jazz with a Brooks and Dunn backbeat.
I'll have to familiarize myself again with Brooks and Dunn.
I'm not. Yeah, what is Brooks and Dunn?
Brooks and Dunn was basically a country group.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Of course it was a country group because this is Bubba we're talking about. Why wouldn't it be?
Well, I mean,
I could throw Jimmy Buffett in there, but I won't.
Interestingly enough, my country experience, and I did go to school. I think I told you that, didn't I? I went to college in Nashville.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's
so
music city, not country city. So you have more than one type of genre coming through.
That's exactly what I was going to say. People always think of Nashville just as country, and no question, it is their bread and butter. But when I was in Nashville, I played in gospel groups, big bands. I had my own jazz trio. I played solo stuff. I got my musical theater start in Nashville as an 18-year-old as a music director for community theater in Nashville.
Very
Nashville.
cool.
You know, musical theater, Broadway stuff.
Yeah,
in Nashville. So he's absolutely right. And they had the Nashville Symphony Orchestra was like quite adept to it. And I did play in country bands and a gospel group, like I said. So there was a good exposure to that. But my country experience goes back even further than Brooks and Dunn and Jimmy Buffett. I mean, it goes back before that. So I come from the era of Johnny Cash and that ilk. I actually,
here's a different challenge. Here's a different challenge for you.
It was
progressive.
So progressive. One of the things I used to do, and it was like a dream, since I was a songwriter, and they had their own songwriters. I forget the name of the street, but the point it was like the Brill Building in New York. Brill Building in New York was known for where all the songwriters had their offices.
Right.
And Nashville had their equivalent of that for country songwriters. And so I actually met a few people, and I went to I'm an 18, 19-year-old kid, maybe 20, and I took my songs with them. I went to some of the offices, played a couple of my songs, and of course I'm from Washington D.C., so I'm not a big. My forte was more Broadway and jazz.
Yeah.
Not so much. So, but I had written a couple of country songs. Interestingly enough, I'll do one for you.
All right, let's hear it. Yeah, go for it.
Let's hear it. Yeah, and then now you have my interest peaked.
But my point is that but my exposure to country was people like Lyle Wagner and Farron Young and
know him.
Now you've got him excited. Bubba's all excited now. You just made his day.
Hearing his voice.
He's like a fat kid in a candy store.
That was like a totally different generation of country stars.
Yeah.
We're talking Waylon Jennings type era here.
Waylon Jennings, exactly. Yep. That whole ilk there, and of course Willie Nelson was there from the beginning anyway.
He's still there.
It was a very different kind of country than Garth Brooks and the guys. And nothing wrong with these guys. I think they're very good, but it's a very different genre of country.
It is. So, don't get me started with David Allan Coe.
But here's my story about this is a song that I wrote that was while I was in college. I wrote this when I was 20.
Okay.
And I used to sing that with my trio. I had a jazz trio, but all three of us sang. And I wrote a little trio arrangement. We even performed at all our shows. But I wrote it when I was in Nashville. The story of this song is that I did sing it for the publisher, and it was rejected. but was an interesting rejection, I must say. It was kind of like a sideways compliment, because you know what? I'll wait for the answer. I mean, I'll wait for the. I'll tell you the story right after that. It's not a story, but it's just I'll tell you.
He tasks me.
He's saving the punchline.
I'm saving the punchline for a very specific reason.
All right, let's hear it.
Because you know what old-time country is supposed to be like.
Yep.
Would you believe me if I said I loved you? Though it really doesn't matter at all. For the good times that we had are over, and I'm just counting flowers on the wall. How many years has it been since you left me? Couldn't you tell that I needed you so? But when you said that you tried to forget me, didn't the tears from your eyes seem to flow? Would you believe me when the days are colder and our lives seem to drift far apart? For I know, dear, that I'd still believe you if you'd come back again to my heart. How many years has it been since you left me? Couldn't you tell that I needed you so? But when you said that you tried to forget me, didn't the tears from your eyes seem to flow? Would you believe me when the days are colder and our lives seem to drift far apart? For I know, dear, that I'd still believe you if you'd come back again to my heart. If you'd come back again to my heart.
I have not heard that since I was 7 years old.
I hope you never heard it before.
It sounds like something that Porter Wagner would have done.
Maybe, but it was in the country style.
Yeah.
No question.
Yes.
Except there was a little bit of...
Then how did I sit there and almost predict every single lyric you just
Yeah,
did?
he was sort of lip...
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looked like you almost knew the words to it.
Because I did lift a couple of very familiar phrases. That's right, I did. Because there were during that time, there was a song called "Flowers on the Wall." And
That's it.
That was one of the lyrics.
Statler Brothers.
But I actually borrowed a couple of song
A couple of
titles,
phrases, yeah.
a couple of phrases, and put in there. Would you believe me when would you believe me if I said I loved you? But it really doesn't matter at all. I mean, I kind of borrowed a few little segments here and there. Or I know that I still believe if you just I'm counting flowers on the wall was one of them. No, the reason I was saying there was the punchline beyond this, I took that song to this publisher, and they said, very nice, but it's too complicated.
I mean, it did have kind of a jazzy feel to it, and I could feel,
did.
and I could hear some show tune style to it as well.
Well,
it was definitely
that's it,
a Richard Danley.
In that
But-
era, here's the thing: I was ahead of the time, because in that in that era, country songs were much simpler. 3 chords. That's all it was. You didn't stray
Yeah.
away from 3 chords. And if you started putting any kind of like minor 7th chords or something that was somewhat jazzy,
You're
they thought
done.
that was- yeah, it was considered too jazzy for country.
Yeah.
Thing
That's
is,
why-
go ahead. I didn't,
Yeah, that's what I was
didn't mean
gonna
to
say.
interrupt. I'm sorry.
But then you fast forward to Garth Brooks and the later country, they started using that stuff. I was kind of ahead of the time.
Yeah, you're
Sorry,
about, you're
I-
about 20 years too early.
I've got to go.
years
I've got to go back. I've got to go back to Statler Brothers on that one with Flowers on the Wall, to be specific. You're talking about a beat that was sped up about, maybe 30% of what you were doing there, and they were counting flowers on the wall. You see where I'm going with that? Okay, so yeah, that's why I was able to protect everything.
I remember that. I mean, that song was very popular during the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So I specifically took little segments.
You're doing kind of a tribute.
Yeah, it was kind of like
Yeah.
a little bit of a reference
Okay.
to some of those things at the
So,
time.
anyway,
But yeah, it was my song was considered too jazzy. So
Well, you
That's
made
why I
Bubba's day. He had the
Well,
happiest.
had
he
you-
was in, he was
I
in
had
hog
you
heaven.
nailed, Richard. And for a song that I've never heard before, I predicted every single freaking line you did.
Yeah, no, he was in hog heaven there.
yeah,
Well, seriously, let's have some fun with this. Let's see what you could do with a progressive jazz with a Waylon Jennings backbeat.
the look on your face there.
that's a good.
That could be a homework assignment if you want for
like
next
I
week.
say, I have to let me do some research because I have.
Yeah,
I have
there's
to
some
look-
research. If you
I-
want it easier, do it a Brooks and Dunn backbeat.
That's the thing.
Specifically,
I never followed them. That's my honest thing. I never really followed
Right.
Brooks and Dunn very well. Now, if you told me to make it like Hank Williams, that'd be easier because I kind of grew up with Hank Williams songs. But Brooks
who
and
said I'm
Dunn,
going to make it easier for
huh?
Who
He
said I'm
just-
going to make it easier for
Yeah, he just wants to challenge you.
I
Progressive
task
jazz,
you.
Well, this is
Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap it up because I got to pee.
yeah.
well, and it's
And
already
he's
almost-
tired.
Yeah, well, this
Yeah,
is a
he's
lot of fun
tired.
tonight, guys. And thanks for hanging out. I
Yeah.
hope everybody enjoyed it.
I hope they did too. Please stay for the after show where I get to challenge Maddie at this point.
Are we gonna do a Maddie
because
reading the news
He
next?
gets to do a Maddie reading news, and I have a promise:
Oh, no.
no Florida stories.
But Florida Man's his favorite.
I know.
I still have some good ones there. There's no faith.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up and take a break. Thank
Oh,
you,
God,
everybody.
Please have an alligator in it.
Nope. Sorry.
I'm not a great alligator one. All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching.
See you later, alligator.
And we'll see you guys after the break for the after party.